How can you separate two of the greatest in a generation? Two men who are definitely on the Mount Rushmore of the last decade of boxing, and two men that are so different yet have so many similarities. With their boxing legacies already cemented, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford now come face to face. Both have prevailed from tough upbringings to become multiple weight world champions and generational talents in their own right. With Canelo the naturally much heavier and stronger man, many believe the result is already clear-cut in the Mexican's favour. But there are so many other variables at play. This fight may not be as close as many believe. As always in boxing, you are only considered to be as good as your last few fights. For Canelo, this includes Jaime Munguia and Edgar Berlanga. I think you can almost discount the William Skull fight, as Skull was so reluctant to engage. For Crawford, his last two performances were his undisputed welterweight title bout versus Errol Spence Jr. and his step up to 154 pounds versus Israel Madrimov to become a four-weight world champion. There is so much to break down in these four fights that may help to determine the favourite come September the 13th. For me, the Errol Spence fight just shows how much of a big-time fighter Bud is. He is cool under pressure and absolutely lives for the big occasion. He was incredibly sharp all night long, forcing Spence to overreach with slick footwork and making him pay with devastating counterpunches. However, there is more to read into regarding the Canelo fight during Bud's most recent bout versus Israel Madrimov, as he moved up in weight. Crawford received criticism after the fight, with many believing Madrimov deserved the decision. However, upon rewatch I can't see how this was the case. As much as the rounds were competitive, Crawford always maintained a level of control. I scored it 9 rounds to 3 in the end. On commentary, Timothy Bradley quoted Bruce Lee, saying Crawford was like water, describing his style or lack thereof, which is a huge advantage for him.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Regarding Canelo, his style has evolved significantly over the years. Since going up in weight to 168 pounds, Canelo has become accustomed to fighting much larger opponents and has developed a number of techniques in order to become very successful as the undisputed champion. In particular, he employs an excellent jab in order to close down the distance and reach disadvantage. His jab has no tail as he throws it from a high guard, so he often catches opponents off guard. He regularly doubles up on the jab in order to close even more distance, and will follow up with a powerful winging shot, often to the body or to the arms to break down his larger opponent. Defensively, Canelo remains excellent, employing subtle pulls to set up counterpunches. He also has an elite high guard and is extremely calm under pressure. Another big element of landing on a larger opponent is feints, which Alvarez is again excellent at. However, as mentioned, most of these adaptations are a result of fighting a larger opponent. Against Crawford, who's to say that Canelo's recent reliance on throwing single heavier shots won't be a disadvantage against a fighter with such great movement. We have seen against Mayweather, but particularly Bivol, that speed and work rate are the only ways to have a chance against the Mexican legend. But again, how will the weight affect Crawford? It's a big jump from 154 to 168, and he's almost certainly at least a little less mobile than he was at the lower weights. With Canelo being accustomed to super middle, he will almost certainly have a power advantage. Canelo still maintains a thudding one-punch power that has hurt men much bigger than Crawford, despite not forcing a stoppage in almost 4 years. That being said, Crawford has long been described as a freak athlete. Who's to say that his power can't gain Canelo's respect?
60 yards, the guy can hit a golf ball 300 yards, the guy can hit a baseball on a 90-mile-an-hour pitching machine. Like, he's the best overall athlete I've ever been around. He's just got freaky genetics. He's got some of the best genetics a human being can have.
Either way, timing is more effective than power, and both men have this in abundance. All these factors are why many pros can't call this contest.
So, but there's another side of Terence that I know. So I don't know, 50-50. Cool. Let's call it that 50-50 because I can't really call it. I don't know, it's a 50-50. Let us know in the comments what you think.
But with all the factors considered, I'm going to back the underdog and go with Terence Bud Crawford by a close decision. Crawford is more adaptable at this stage of his career a slick counter-puncher who's comfortable fighting off the front and back foot. I just feel that as long as he doesn't stand in front of Canelo and trade, he could well frustrate him en route to a decision. Crawford's southpaw stance will also help in neutralising Canelo's jab and favourite left hook, as they battle with the lead hand. Even though Crawford is the older man, I believe he is the fresher of the two. Having had 65 fights, Canelo is bound to be a little more battle-born, and since his defeat to Bivol in 2022, it would be fair to say that Crawford is the hungrier of the two as well. Whichever way it goes, it's bound to be close. Hopefully we get a classic come the 13th of September.